So Portland has finally arrested somebody for living in a homeless encampment and not taking the offer of shelter. That's the big deal, right? Well, this guy gets arrested and then he's supposed to get booked. And the sheriff says, no, we're not doing that. So even in Portland, when you've got this forward motion to, hey, let's try and clean up the streets a little bit, this is what you end up with. I'll go the jail route, the homeless man says. We talk about this all the time. Let's get into it. Here we go. I'll go the jail route. I mean, you take a tiny home or shelter versus going to jail? Yeah, I don't know. Even on my worst of days, I'd have to go, you know what? Jail isn't that great. Just give me, what's option B? What's option? Tiny home? All right. I'm not a huge fan, but it's better than sleeping on the sidewalk and it's better than sleeping in jail, right? Especially Multnomah jail. According to the police bureau, Alistair McDonald, according to the Portland Police Bureau, Alistair McDonald was offered shelter several times, including the offer of a tiny home before his arrest on Friday. Let's watch a quick video. Get a little feel for what we got going on here.
At the end of Northeast Alberta Street sits a pocket of Portland, where one man stands out from the rest, for better or for worse.
This is peaceful right here, and it's where I'm loved and appreciated.
Alistair McDonald has lived on this corner of Northeast Alberta Street and 28th Avenue for 6 years.
This is where I used to stay at.
He's also well known among Portland police. Officers have contacted him several times for illegally setting up camp in and around this empty lot. And outreach workers, along with neighbors, have offered him shelter.
He's kind of declined it.
He's been offered quite a few services, from a tiny house to a shelter.
On Friday, he refused those services again, so he was arrested under Portland's new camping ban ordinance.
I woke up to police. They surrounded me. I was not free to go.
Since enforcement of the camping ban started July 1st, city crews have assessed more than 3,600 campsites. Many people have accepted shelter referrals. Alistair is the first one to be arrested for not accepting those services.
I don't like being forced into something with no choice. There's a tiny home. You're going in it, and you can't do nothing about it, right? No, I can. I'll go the jail route, if that's where y'all want to put me.
When he got to jail, the sheriff's office refused to book him, so he went right back to his corner in Northeast.
Well, when I got out of jail, I laid on the sidewalk over there to fall asleep.
They kind of took him in, took all of his stuff, and now he's fending for himself again, which is really unfortunate.
This whole thing. Okay, yeah. And then we've got, I believe we need to utilize the correction system as a place for people who pose a genuine danger to the public. We have read what a genuine danger looks like from the homeless community so many times, right? And that does not include individuals whose only offense is living unsheltered. If it was just a case of living unsheltered, then I think people wouldn't have an issue. If it was just a case of, I need a place to put my head on my pillow. I need a place to put my pillow. If that were just the issue, then I don't think people would have as many problems with the homeless community. But you've got such a plethora of issues that come with the homeless community encampments. I don't need to go through the long litany of issues, but, drugs, sex trafficking, garbage, needles, fentanyl, heroin, guns, people shooting each other, women getting accosted. It's just all part and parcel of this whole thing. And at the end of the day, you can't really just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to stay wherever I want. That's not really a thing. It's just not a thing. You can't just live wherever you want, because we've got this thing called a society and we've got these things called rules. And now Portland's trying to enforce them. And you've got this sheriff who is saying, oh, no, can't do that. It's going to be this back and forth, right? It's going to be this back and forth of folks who really want to clean Portland up and folks who don't, who are okay with the status quo. How's that working out for you, right? For the first time since Portland City Mayor passed a new prohibited camping ordinance in early May, police on Friday arrested a homeless person for refusing to move or take an offer of shelter. However, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office declined to book the person in jail. Should they be booked? Should they be incarcerated? I'm not in favor of that. However, what other options do you have? If somebody isn't willing to follow the law, do you just go, you know what? We tried to give them housing and they didn't want it. So we just gave up. And you can go down that route if you want. But, you know, for the betterment of society, I would say you got to cut down on these shenanigans. You've got shenanigans going on all the time. How about the number of responses by the fire department in any given homeless encampment? How about all the tents getting burned up, you know, because people get whacked out on drugs and they've got lighters and they light stuff on fire and, you know, they're smoking their whatever, cigarettes, and then the nylon tent, poof, up in flames, right? Well, Willamette Week was the first to report on the arrest Monday. Portland ostensibly began enforcement of the new ordinance at the beginning of July, but this arrest marked the first time that the more drastic consequences of the ordinance have come to bear. So Portland has gone from, yeah, we love our fellow human beings, even if they don't have a home, to we got to do something. So now you've got kind of this momentum that's going down more of the, we've got to clean this city up one way or the other. So sorry, folks, you can't just live willy-nilly wherever and do your shenanigans. Can't do that. So we're going to offer you housing. If you're not going to take it, then you see what happened with this individual. Now, you might say, well, this guy, he's just been living outside for 6 years and he's not going to be able to go indoors. And you might be right. You're probably right. But that doesn't mean that he can just live wherever he wants. That's a hard no-go. Another major factor you've got going on is there was a Supreme Court ruling that basically said incarcerating people for living outdoors for urban camping when you don't have enough shelter to offer to them is cruel and unusual punishment. That was the lawsuit. Supreme Court said, no, it's not. So now you've got state like California going down this road of, all right, we're going to sweep all the homeless encampments, which to me, it's this, you know, it's this crazy issue where people think, well, if we just do a sweep, the homeless encampments will go away. Those are people with their stuff. They're not going away. You might sweep their stuff. You might sweep their tent, but then where are they going to go? Where are you going to put them? You know, are you putting them in treatment? Probably not. Are you putting them in jail? No, you don't have enough jail space, right? California's going the other way. And, you know, are you putting them in a mental institution because they're whacked out from all the drugs they've done? We're not doing involuntary treatment unless it's just absolutely so clear that something has gone sideways in these people's lives and they're a huge, huge danger to the community. And even then, we are typically just allowing these folks to go back out and just do their thing. And hey, would you mind showing up in court in a couple of months? We'd love to see you. So according to a statement from the Portland Police Bureau, officers arrested a man identified as Alistair McDonald at around 9:15 on Friday for unlawful camping near Northeast 28th Avenue and Alberta Street. Both police and city outreach workers had spoken with McDonald several times prior. On Friday, McDonald was given a last chance to seek shelter, including access to a tiny home, police said. McDonald was told his options would be to accept services or be arrested. And that's what they did because the guy's just, he doesn't want to go. So he was cited and released. Here's your citation. Think he kept that? No, he already said that he lost it. So then, according to Mayor Ted Wheeler's office, McDonald was cut loose because Multnomah County Sheriff's Office refused to book him. Oh, we're not doing that. If the guy's breaking the law, isn't your duty to book him? I mean, last I understood, that was the understanding. So now sheriffs are taking judgment calls on what may or may not, you know, be enforcement of the law. They're just, aren't you law enforcement? But this isn't just Portland. We've got the exact same situation here in King County. Similar situation here in Seattle, where in Burien area, you've got this situation where the sheriff is basically not arresting people, not enforcing the law, and the city, which contracts with the sheriff's department, is basically saying, hey, this is our law. You need to enforce it. And because there's disagreement on who should and shouldn't get arrested as far as the homeless goes, it's like law enforcement is choosing, hey, which laws we're going to enforce. And you know why? because we've had these laws on the books all along. Hey, you can't camp here. You can't camp here. You can't camp here. But we've gone down all these roadways of, you know what? We're just going to be tolerant. We're just going to allow them to do their own thing. It'll work out fine. They're good people. They're mostly good people. And then, 3,200 encampments pop up in Oregon because Oregon, particularly Portland, has become known for accommodating the homeless population, for just giving out all kinds of freebies. And the weather's fairly moderate. They complain about these heat waves, and that's when it gets over 90 degrees. Rest of the country, hey, if it's under 100 in August, you're doing well. Then here in the Pacific Northwest, if it cracks 80, we start to worry. Oh, should I turn on my air conditioning? Should I turn it on? Should I turn it on? So this guy, he basically got arrested, and they tried to take him to jail, and the sheriff said, yeah, no. In a lengthy statement of her own released Tuesday afternoon, Sheriff Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell made clear that the decision not to book McDonald was not a one-off instance, but a policy that she stands behind. As the elected official charged with managing the jail, I believe we need to utilize the correction system as a place for people who pose a genuine danger to the public. And that's what we read earlier. And you're like, okay, so who gets to make that decision? So even if people arrested for illegal camping aren't booked into jail, O'Donnell said that the consequences are there. Someone handed a criminal citation is expected to appear in court. What if they lose it? This guy does not care. This guy could care less. When someone handed a criminal citation is expected to appear in court, and the citation still carries a potential fine of up to $100 and up to 7 days in jail or both. So you fine them $100, money they don't have. And if they do have that money, they're going to be buying drugs with it, right? They're not going to be paying a fine, or 7 days in jail. That's not that long. So, these folks are living in horrific conditions in these homeless encampments. 7 days in jail. Hey, 3 solid square meals a day. I mean, they can't do their drugs, but they know they're going to get out. You know what? There's a bunch of drugs in jail too. Yeah. Arresting and booking our way out of the housing crisis is not a constructive solution. It's the only solution you've got when people refuse to go into shelter. And that's what we're talking about, is people not taking the help that they're being offered. Incarceration is a costly short-term measure that fails to address the complex underlying issues. We're constantly hearing this. Yeah, it's complicated, but you got to do something. And so if you sweep somebody out, you need to be prepared to put them somewhere. And that's the major issue I have, that there's plan A here, which is let's just sweep. But then where does that lead to? I mean, where are you going to put these people? Most of these people don't have the ability to go, you know what? I've really had a good run. I've lived on the streets for years now, like this guy, 6 years. I had a great run. I did all the shenanigans I wanted. I partied like a rock star. I did all kinds of drugs. I blew out the better portion of my cognitive abilities. But now, yeah, you know what? Just going to go get that job. Just going to work my way into an apartment. I'm going to really try hard to get things back in line. That is not what is happening with the vast majority of folks that are in the drug homeless encampments. Because that's what they're based off of, right? Is drugs. Let's be honest. It's not people that just got one paycheck behind and then things fell apart. It's people that probably had some major life crisis. Now they're wildly depressed. They're self-medicating because they don't have health benefits. They don't have normal health care. They don't have access to health care, or they feel they don't. And they're self-medicating. They're like, I'm just going to shoot myself to kablooey with all these drugs. I'm going to try and make myself feel better. And they probably need to be in treatment, and they probably need to be in some kind of rehab. So, but we're stuck because you've got people like this sheriff who basically says, nope, we're not doing that. People just looking for a place to lay their head at night. We're not arresting them. We are not going to incarcerate them. We're not keeping them in jail. So there's that. So I want to be where I'm loved is this next segment. On Tuesday, KGW reporter Blair Best. I'm a big fan of Blair Best. I think she has good content. found Alistair McDonald close to his former camp, his belongings now gone. He gestured with a green illegal camping notice posted by the city, now held in his hand. This is actually the campsite notice that they put up on the day that they took my camp. I've been a nuisance to some of these neighbors by not cleaning up my camp. Oh, I mean, he's self-described why some of the people don't want him there. Well, you just can't have people living willy-nilly wherever they want. That's not a thing. This whole notion of, oh, it's just urban camping. It's a no-go. You can't live wherever because you got all kinds of things that you're violating. You know, most notably, you know, where are you going to go to the bathroom? You get up in the middle of the night, there's no porta potties open, there's no restaurants open you can run into, there's no McDonald's. Where are you going to go? You're going to go right on the land that you're on. You're going to go into the woods just a little bit somewhere and take a number 2. I mean, you hear about that all the time. I mean, it's a known quantity. And the drugs that these people take, their number 2s sometimes come on real quick and they got to go. That's why you've got poop all over. You just, I got to go. Oh, done. You know what I mean? So Friday, I woke up to police surrounding me. I was not free to go. We heard him talking about that. And they would lay back down on the street. And so arresting our way out of the homeless problem, that's not going to happen either. That's not going to happen either. So you are literally stuck between a rock and a hard place loaded with shenanigans because you've allowed this to take place. Now you've got not only the backing of the Supreme Court, you've got all these jurisdictions that are saying, hey, we've got, you know, no urban camping rules. Now let's enforce them. All right. So how many people are you going to put in jail to kind of sweep this under the rug? Well, we got him off the streets. Where'd you put him? Jail. I mean, how many can you do that to? Not many. And especially if you've got a sheriff who's like, no, we're not doing that. No go. Camping ban enforcement. While enforcement of the new camping ordinance was set to begin July 1st, Wheeler's office said the weather emergency during Portland's early July heat wave prompted them to pause camp removals for over a week. How hot was it? Was it 85? I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's like, all right, so when are you going to actually do something? Well, it was over 70 that day, over 82 that day. We had too much humidity. Can't do a sweep. It's like, come on, folks. Come on. Regardless, the city's impact reduction program has performed 3,620 site assessments. You've got 3,620 site assessments that they've done. I mean, think of all the resources that they are spending. I mean, just going out and taking a look. For most camps contacted by outreach workers or police through the program, Wheeler's office said that people either accepted shelter offers or otherwise complied with camping restrictions. You got to be over there. You're going to see a lot of that. And people getting swept, but then they're just going to move to somewhere where the sweeps aren't happening right now. They're going to set up shop there. They're going to set up camp there. And then, you know, every now and then you're going to hear about this guy or a guy like this guy who says, you know what? Screw it. I'll go to jail. And then the ultimate threat is gone. Well, we said we were going to throw you to jail. Well, full send me there. I'll do my shenanigans in jail. I mean, I don't know what this guy's story is, but it's probably not unique, right? I mean, you hear these stories and somebody loses a family member or something terrible happens. You know, it's always some kind of life tragedy, and then their mind goes and they start doing drugs, and then they don't have the ability to, you know, basically support themselves, and they start living with some person that they know in the homeless encampment, and boom, you know, their life just goes down that road. Arresting them, it's not going to help them, but it's the only thing that we as society have to basically have any impact whatsoever. So this notion of arresting our way out, or this notion of, well, we gave you $100 fine, we could put you in jail for 7 years. You were homeless, we're going to put you in jail for 7 years. No, you're not doing those things. And even if you do give them a citation, they don't care. They're going to spend the money on drugs. They're not going to spend it on, I got to get my citation back up because otherwise they won't give me my driver's license back. We're not going down those roadways, are we? No, that's just clearly not what's going on. These people that have been littering the streets and just living wherever they want, they do whatever they want. They do whatever they want. Over in Seattle, we just had a homeless encampment where I did a couple of walkthroughs. Yeah, I think I did a couple of walkthroughs with Andrea Suarez of We Heart Seattle, who is running for city council here in Seattle. So I'm supporting her in those efforts. If you're in Seattle and you're moderately conservative, vote for Andrea Suarez. She's done a lot of work to clean Seattle up, just physically hand picking up needles and garbage and trying to help people get into treatment and all of that good stuff. But we had a deal, or one of the camps that I visited with her, West Kinnear Park, they had explosions from a number of propane tanks. Just poof, big fire. I mean, you've got that stuff going on. That's kind of what you expect, part and parcel with these homeless communities. Every now and then, oh yeah, let it on fire. You got a fire and there's explosions happening. And so the only thing we can really do as society, if people, refuse to go where they should be going, is to arrest them. And is that the answer? Clearly, no. But it's all you got. It's all you got. I'm not saying it's a great idea, but you got to have some teeth behind the ordinances, right? Here's what we're going to do. All right, give me jail. And that's what this guy is saying. I'll take jail. Screw the tiny home. Don't want it. All right. So it's kind of checkmate, isn't it? So then what do you do with this guy? He's just going to be roaming around without his stuff now. He just literally lies down on the sidewalk to take a nap. Yeah, guy does not want to go to shelter. So that's where we sit. That's where we sit. Where do we sit? Man, I don't even know. Where does this leave us? It leaves us in the exact same spot that we knew we were in before, which is we became, and by we, I mean a lot of these big West Coast cities, they became accepting of the whole homeless community thing. And now they've got the reasoning from the Supreme Court, and they're also looking around going, we got to do something. What are they going to do? What are they actually going to do to clean things up? I don't know, but I know it's not getting fixed today or anytime soon. So make sure you're subscribed, because I'll be reporting back on this very topic. Thanks again for being here. We'll catch up soon. Bye for now.